This is an ad by BetterHelp. BetterHelp recently surveyed over 16,000 people and found that while 75% of people believe it's wise to seek support, only 27% of Americans are in therapy, and people stay silent to avoid being judged. BetterHelp has over 10 years of experience matching you with the right therapist. Because we're all better with help. Visit betterhelp.com/stopthestigma for their first ever State of Stigma report, the latest in mental health research.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Under the Influence. I am Alexis Knight. And in this episode 3, we are going to wrap up our deep dive into the murder of Kim Wall by Peter Madsen. We are looking at Under the Influence beyond the delusion. Influenced by yourself, by others, we can be under the influence because of people. Now, in this case, we've explored the public persona of Madsen, the dark delusions that led to the crime, and the trial that brought his disturbing reality to light. But now in this final part, we're going to step back a bit. We're going to take a look at the bigger picture. What this case tells us about delusion and influence, and why society finds some narratives easier to accept than others. Because it happens, we all do it. So let's dive in to the broader implications of the Kim Wall case. So this case serves as a chilling reminder of how dangerous unchecked delusions can be. Madsen's ability to mask his own violent fantasies beyond a facade, this facade that he had, that he was a genius and he was a creative. I mean, the fact that this could happen, that he could be so brutal, but to the public eye was so wonderful, it should give all of us pause. How often do we celebrate eccentricity without probing deeper, without considering the potential dangers that lurk beneath the surface? This case forces us, if we're looking at it, okay, which we're doing, to question that fine line between genius and madness, and how society often overlooks or...
This is an ad by BetterHelp. BetterHelp recently surveyed over 16,000 people and found that while 75% of people believe it's wise to seek support, only 27% of Americans are in therapy, and people stay silent to avoid being judged. BetterHelp has over 10 years of experience matching you with the right therapist. Because we're all better with help. Visit betterhelp.com/stopthestigma for their first ever State of Stigma report, the latest in mental health research.
Even romanticizes troubling behavior. Until it's too late, of course. Consider the way we talk about mad scientists or brilliant but disturbed artists in our popular culture. These narratives can sometimes obscure the reality that mental illness or extreme delusions, they're not just quirks or traits. They can have real and devastating consequences. Madsen's case is a stark example of what happens when these delusions are left unchecked. Because when they're left unchecked, what do? They fester. They fester and they grow. But what can we do? As a society, what can we do? Sometimes we do see the signs. Are we recognizing the signs? Are we allowing ourselves to recognize the signs and then maybe even do something about it? How bold. I mean, this case, it goes beyond the dangers of unchecked delusions, though. This challenges us, like I just said, to think about how we, as a society, respond to things that we might actually be noticing. Early warning signs. We ignore so many of them because they just can't be true, especially if it's someone that we know and care for. Now, Madsen was a public figure, and the public does care for the figures that they like. This guy was someone admired for his ambitious projects. People looked up to him. Yet there were likely signs, right? Moments where his behavior could have raised some red flags. Did those around him ignore these signs maybe because of his status? or because they were simply just not equipped to recognize them. Maybe they felt that he had more authority over them, and therefore recognizing a red flag just can't happen. This all brings up an important discussion about mental health awareness, particularly when it comes to individuals who occupy positions of influence or admiration. And this includes fictional characters, guys. I just did a Slender Man. Check it out if you didn't listen to it yet. How do we ensure that troubling behavior is not dismissed as mere eccentricity or maybe just brilliance? How do we encourage people to speak up, maybe even intervene, if they so could, when they see someone exhibiting potentially dangerous behavior, even if that person is a respected figure? Why do we struggle with this? Let's talk about why this case, as horrific as it is still easier for people to process than others that we're going to explore in the future. We need to get this conversation done. When someone like Peter Madsen commits a crime because of their own delusions, we're dealing with a narrative that feels familiar, right? We can attribute his actions to something internal to him, something that seems almost inevitable given his psychological state that we know about now. So it's all okay. It all fits. It all goes together. Oh, good. Put him away and we're done. But when the delusion or influence comes from someone else outside the person, when someone is manipulated or coerced into committing a crime they would never have considered on their own, this is where people start to struggle. Why? Because it challenges our own core beliefs about that free will, autonomy, and personal responsibility. Think about it. If someone can be influenced to the point of committing a heinous act, maybe something like this, what does it say about our own vulnerabilities? Nothing good, okay? It forces us to confront the uncomfortable truth that we might not be as in control of our actions as we'd like to believe. It also raises difficult questions about where responsibility lies, with the person who committed the act or the one who influenced them to do it. Very difficult question. It's an ugly line. I know it is. It's very blurry. But as we reflect on the Kim Wall case, it is clear that Peter Madsen's actions were driven by his own internal demons. This is something people can understand. It's a man with dark fantasies, acting out his own twisted desires. What a sicko. But keep that thought, because as we move forward in this series, we're going to explore cases where the delusion is like this. It looks like this, but it wasn't self-generated. We're going to look at situations where individuals are driven to commit crimes not because of their own thoughts. They didn't have these thoughts. These thoughts were the influence of others. These are going to be the cases where society's understanding of a crime and influence is really tested. We are going to examine how external pressures, manipulation, and even love, or maybe fear does a lot of things, right? This all can push someone over the edge. And we're going to challenge the idea that only internal delusion can lead to violence. People create it themselves. They are the icky ones. This is what we want to believe. But we have to challenge that. Because as we are going to find out, the influence of others can be just as powerful and sometimes even more insidious. Why does this matter? This is important to examine because it's not just the crimes themselves. This is the influences behind them that we're interested in. Because understanding these dynamics can help us prevent future tragedies. It can help us recognize when someone is being manipulated or influenced in dangerous ways. And it can empower us to intervene before it's too late. And we're in a world where influence is coming at us from all directions. How can we not look at this? And perhaps most importantly, this all challenges us to rethink our notions of free will and responsibility. In a world where influence is everywhere, right? I just said it. From the media we consume to the people we're around, all of it. It's crucial to understand how these influences shape our actions, for better or for worse. And I mean, I don't know who would not be interested in this, because I personally want to know if how I'm acting is how I want to be acting. Did someone influence me? I hope not. In this expanded discussion, we have not only unraveled the disturbing details of the Kim Wall case, because this stuff is happening, not just this case, but okay, we're also setting the stage for the more complex that we're gonna get into, the more uncomfortable cases to come. This is not just about understanding what drives people to commit crimes. This is about challenging our own assumptions about influence, responsibility, and the human psyche. As we move forward, I encourage you to keep an open mind and be ready to question everything you think that you know about why people do what they do. We're into crime, guys, and that's what we're going to be looking at. This is Alexis Knight, and you have been listening to Under the Influence. This was a 3-part series, Kim Wall getting us ready for many more. Listen to all 3 if you did not. Stick with us, there's more to come. Until next time, guys, stay safe, stay curious, and always remember that things are not always what they seem.